Hey, this will be a showcase on Sukuna from anime Vanguards, so let's get to it. Sukuna is a secret unit, effectively because he does two things. Now the thing is, he does not do these two things at the same time. Let's quickly go over his passives. Our first passive is the King's Curse. Attacks before upgrade 9 cleave enemies, making them take 20% more damage from bleed. His second passive is Sinister Sanctum, his domain expansion. He gains 1% damage for each kill during his domain expansion up to 30%. And finally, his third passive, Divine Flames, he gains the fire element, his damage increases by 40%, and he becomes immune to stun. The reason why I say he can't do two things at the same time is because he effectively loses his first passive once upgrade 9 hits, his Divine Flames passive. So he is two units in one, but you need to choose which unit he wants to be. Let's talk about his first passive, King's Curse. This is the first passive he gains, and this is what makes him a support unit for bleed units. He is a bleed support unit because of Cleave. Cleave lasts forever on a unit until it changes forms or until it dies, and makes him take 20% more damage from bleed. If you plan on using this Sukuna for bleed support, I suggest that you leave him on upgrades 2 to 5 so he can make full use of applying Cleave to all the enemies needed for your bleed units. It's important to note that once upgrade 9 hits, he is no longer a bleed support and turns into a full main DPS. Upgrade 9 gives him Divine Flames, increasing his damage by a whole 40%. In combination with the buff from his domain expansion, he effectively has a 70% damage increase. If you have a Monarch Sukuna, I suggest that you always make him past upgrade 9 as it will increase his damage exponentially. If you don't have a Monarch Sukuna, I suggest that you have a Sukuna applying the Cleave, which is on his full AoE, and then the rest two being your main DPSs. Of course, you can have your other units such as Alucard and Choso to make use of that Cleave being applied. So, Sukuna is two units in one, but he needs to choose which unit he wants to become, whether that's a bleed support or a full-on DPS. Is he bad in today's meta? He's alright. The main problem is that there isn't really much use case for him as of right now. We did recently have a bleed tournament unit, but he wasn't really buffed due to it being mostly the bleed element instead of the curse element. If you're a casual player who doesn't participate in tournaments, you don't need him. But if you're a player who does participate in tournaments, who knows, maybe he'll get a tournament for himself. Sukuna is not a bad unit. He's two units in one, a bleed support or a full-on DPS. Choose what you want him to be, or don't, I don't care. Anime Vanguards is a type of tower defense game where all units can eventually shine. The meta does not define the casual experience of this game. Your Vegeta can clear all the content in this game anyways. That's all. Get Sukuna if you want, get Sukuna if you don't. Who knows if he'll become useful in the future.